Hello and welcome to the video. Now, I reckon I've probably laboured the point on for quite long enough, but as I've said, my camera is currently broken and in with Sony getting fixed. So just my luck, every night since then it's been clear skies, so I've been desperate to get out and shoot some astro. Now, I gave my old camera, which was the Sony 6300, to my dad, and he's lent it back to me, so I'm going to go out and shoot some stars tonight. And what it made me think about was shooting astro with a crop sensor. Can you do it? Now, obviously, yes, you can do it with anybody pretty much. But what I thought I'd do is make a video on that and talk you through it. So what are the disadvantages of having a crop sensor body? Now, firstly is you need to take into account the crop sensor and the crop factor doing the 500 rule to determine your shutter speed. So for example, I'm going to be shooting on a 12mm Samyang. My crop factor is 1.5. So the 12mm Samyang becomes an 18mm equivalent, so you just need to divide 500 by the 18 to get your shutter speed. So the first disadvantage is that because of the crop factor, you will have shorter shutter speeds on a crop body than you would on a full frame. Now the other thing about it is that pushing the ISOs to high levels, crop sensor bodies will struggle with that more than a full frame, so you may introduce more noise into your photos. But there's things you can do about that, so we'll get into that later on. And I'm going to be going back to a place tonight where I've been before. It's local. The picture is my latest on Instagram. It's of a lone tree in a field, so shameless plug, go and check me out there. And that's it, so let's get on with the video and let's get out there and take some shots. Right, let's see how well this camera performs then at low light. Oh shit, I've got the fucking default on. Idiot. I don't know if you can see that. That is a massive pile of poo and it stinks. Okay, so I'm here at this tree. I'm just going to get a few shots now. I'm going to take a few test shots, get my composition right, and I've got on the Samyang 12mm now, so let's get on with it. So I've also got a crazy aperture 25mm 0.95 lens for this camera, so I've got to stick that in. I've got to give it a go. I did a video on it ages ago. It was really shit, but I'll link it up here wherever it is. And that's me done, so I'm going to head home now. Let's have a look at these pictures. Oh yeah, right. I'm back and I'm going to edit these pictures. First things to say, it's really difficult when you're out and it's dark and you don't know your camera. Like with my A7 III, all the dials are all on the top there and I know exactly how to change my shutter, my aperture, that kind of thing. Going back to my 6300, I've forgotten where all the buttons were and it was a proper struggle getting out there and changing the settings while I was out there in the pitch black. Nightmare. Also got a new tripod for this one as well, just like a cheap one off Amazon, but so far so good. But again, not knowing your gear inside out while you're out there, there's all these knobs and things to twist and I kept doing the wrong thing. Anyway, it's a bit of a nightmare. What I've noticed from these though, pics look great in my opinion, really happy with the pictures. What I have noticed is that the RAW files, they're not as big, they're half the size of the ones on my A7 III, they're 20 meg instead of 40 meg, and you just can't push them to death. Like, oh shit, I should be screen recording this, give us a sec. Right, I'm in the computer now. And again, like the picture, I think it looks really good. I'm really happy with this. I've done some light painting here and I've done that in Photoshop. But if you start pushing these highlights, then you can see artifacting happening in the image and also if you try and push these shadows too much, then it just doesn't hold up as well as on the A7 III. But considering that, it does do a really good job. I'm really happy with them. I think I'm going to go out shooting again tonight. I've done some panoramas, which I'm really happy with. Again, you can see some artifacting over here where I've pushed it slightly too far. And then the only other thing was that f/0.95 newer lens. Before I went out, I set the lens to infinity, and I put some sellotape, put some tape on it so that it would be stuck at infinity. And then I thought, well, I won't have to focus it while I'm out there. And f/0.5 is such a shallow depth of field, it's insane. And I thought if I stood far enough back from the tree that everything would be in focus, but what you can actually see from these pics is that the tree isn't in focus and the stars are. So had I realised that, the problem with the tiny little A6300 is I couldn't see on the back of the screen clearly. The photo looked like it was in focus and the peaking was on, and it was shining red, like as though it was in focus, but clearly it isn't. If I'd have realised that, I'd have much preferred having the tree in focus and then the stars slightly out of focus like bokeh, but what are you going to do? The time lapses, because of that, they're not great, which is a shame, but I reckon I'm going to go out and try again tonight. I'm going to try again with this lens as well, so see what we get. Right, so as you can probably tell from that last clip, it was cloudy through the night last night, so I didn't bother going out. What I wanted to do was show you that what you're more likely to get with APS-C cameras is more grain in your image. But actually, when I went out the other night and shot that tree, it was midnight and it was pitch black to me, but you could still see that there was sunset on the horizon, which was crazy, but it added some nice colours to it, but it meant that I had the ISO really low. So what I wanted to show you was that if you take time lapses while you're shooting APS-C, then you can stack those images. And I promise I am working on that video. I've been working on it for weeks now. It's just been a mare to edit. I'll show you how to stack images manually in Photoshop. So that will get rid of any of the noise that you may get from shooting an APS-C camera. So really what I wanted to show in this one was that it is possible to shoot astro on anything other than a full frame camera, and you should definitely go out and do it. So if you do, then, and you post it to Instagram or something, then tag me or DM me so I can see the pics. I'm really interested to see it. So that's it for this one. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you again soon. Take care.